We began to feel the impact of the national economic crisis at the end of 2008. Chief Settings Guard and his staff are working diligently to make the best use of their resources with a downsized workforce. Thanks to Chief Settings Guard for his tireless analysis of the police department structure and making changes that will actually put more patrol officers on the street this year.
Chief Settings Guard, as I mentioned in the address, went back, reanalyzed his manpower, and he's actually going to have more people in patrol on our streets this year than we have in the past. Now that's happening, and I'll let the Chief explain it, with reduction in some of the specialized units that we rely on very heavily, but he knows that the Council's priority is high visibility and having those patrol officers on the streets.
We reduced some of the smaller units, traffic, some of the detective positions. We pulled out of the JTTF, Joint Terrorism Task Force. We pulled a detective from the MAG unit. And all of those were assignments that had great value to our department, great value to our community, but they weren't as important as that uniformed police officer that patrols our streets at night.
An area that will see considerable discussion between local municipalities and our state representatives is the need for pension reform. We cannot continue to absorb pension costs piled on by our legislators in Springfield. It's breaking our backs and it's breaking our banks. Sometimes difficult times force us to concentrate on doing some things drastically different. We have to operate more efficiently with fewer taxpayer dollars. I don't see that need changing anytime in the years ahead. In that vein, I've spoken at some length with County Board Chairman Tom O'Neill, and together we're prepared to put together a group that will be charged with exploring the opportunity to move Peoria City County towards a combined municipal government. Some call it Unigov. Other cities have already done this. Indianapolis is part of a successful combined city-county government, as are Nashville, Lexington, Louisville, and Kansas City, Kansas. We acknowledge that this won't happen overnight, and likely not in the next couple of years. Ultimately, it may be determined that there is no feasibility in doing it here, but I'm convinced that we owe it to you and the rest of our citizenry to perform the due diligence and make that decision based on facts.
It's a smaller government. It's a more efficient government. You're not seeing city and county with trucks out there repairing potholes. You're not seeing duplication of a lot of the departments. And there's not one model. There's not a model that we can just cut and paste and say this is the new Unigov in Peoria. It can almost be built to fit our unique community. So we're not. I think what we want to do is be very careful not to say this is how it's going to look, because we don't know how it's going to look or how it's going to run. I mean, this will be a lengthy process. I think it'll take several years minimum. Well, being as we announced it about 15 minutes ago, the negative people haven't had a chance to. I don't know about Chairman O'Neill, but I had 5 or 10 people from the room to this room say, I'd love to help. I didn't have anybody, I didn't have any negative.
I had no negative also.
Have you shared
just people wanting to help.
We have to get out of the deficit that we're in, and we have to start building reserves. We have no choice. We now know why school districts have reserves. We have reserves because during economic difficulties, you have to have a buffer. I'm concerned that this community will support the lighthouse schools, the schools like Edison and the charter school. Now don't get me wrong. I'm supportive of these. I recommended the charter contract last night.
And what I'm trying to point out is that we can't just support 2 different concepts of schools. We have to support all of our schools. If we don't, the other schools don't have a chance at all.